Yo, what is up, my dark souls? It's your Dark King Prometheus here, back at it again with another video. Alright, this is going to be a new series that I'm starting. This is going to be What If Deku Had the Mark of Cain, and if y'all don't know exactly what that is, I'll get into a little explanation in a bit, but, yeah. This is, as I've already said, it's going to be a very new series, but this is going to be a very, very fun series for me to record for the storyline that I have planned in the plot and the lore that dwells into this. So this is going to be fun. So the Mark of Cain is technically a mark that Lucifer gave Cain when he killed his brother, which grants him a shit ton of abilities, absolute immortality, and I'll delve more into the abilities in of it when we get to that part of the story. But for now, if y'all like the vid, well, if y'all enjoy the vid, give it a like, maybe subscribe. I'm around 300 subs away from hitting 4K, which is I thank y'all so much for, because I know I did stop posting for a while back then, which by now I've already posted a video that should explain that. But yeah, so let's get into it. So how this is gonna work is when Cain got the mark and the curse, he knew that one day he would eventually die by not technically dying. He would just have to he would technically die but by passing on the mark to someone new. And he knew that it had to be someone pure of heart, that the mark would not completely be able to just completely turn complete evil and just murderous. So he knew that one day someone would be born with a pure heart, a complete pure heart. So he waited millennia, and one day, the day that Deku was even thought of being conceived, like when Inko figured out that she was pregnant. Before that, when Deku was even an embryo, I'm just gonna say that the only people on Earth that could feel this born, because when King knew that he would know when this child would be born. Like, that was one thing that he already knew. They explained that he would know when this child would be born. So it released a complete shockwave to any divine beings, or specifically any beings, like any humans or any beings that have lived longer than their supposed life expectancy, that have lived longer than one lifetime, well, their normal lifetime. So All For One felt this too, but he doesn't know exactly what it is, since he's not a divine being, but he felt the wave. And when Cain felt this, he dropped everything. He wasn't really doing anything, since he has all the time he had all the time in the world. So he flew straight to Japan, automatically tracked down Inko, and just technically became a friend with them Midoriya's. He grew closer with them to just get them to trust him, and he did kind of like them. And since he mostly kills demons, or kills whoever he feels like, so he's not a hero, but not technically a villain. So yeah, but he just completely gets to know them, and when Deku's born, he can automatically sense that Deku will not have a quirk. So one day, while when Deku's like very young, maybe like when he's like still within a month old, Cain lets Inko and Hisashi just go out and have like a date night. And while they're on that date night, Cain gives Deku the mark by passing it on, and The only reason that Kane doesn't die at that exact moment is because the mark hasn't been activated yet. And the only way to activate the mark is for you to commit your first murder, for you to kill someone. And that's the only way for the mark to activate. So it's technically just going to be dormant until he eventually does kill someone. So Kane would stay around so he could at least watch the kid grow, and be there for at least so he could be around when he does activate the curse, because he'll just probably be he'll be probably sent into the mindscape, so he could train the kid to learn how to use to explain everything that's going on. So we do a 4-year time skip to when around specifically the weekend before Bakugo gets his quirk. Okay, Deku, this like Inko, they have already figured out that Deku will technically will have a quirk. They did this because Kane knows that it would be kind of weird for Deku to be this overly powerful and then not have a quirk, and he doesn't feel like having doctors trying to examine him and figure out exactly what kind of whatever mutation that Deku has. So he changed Deku's complete body structure so he looked like he would be born with a quirk. So, and when Inko came back, Kane just explained that the mark had just shown up randomly, and Inko just says, "Oh, must be a part of his quirk activating, must be dormant, just must be dormant for the moment." As they say it must be. As I'm just gonna say, during these 4 years, Sasashi has had to work very hard, so he's become an alcoholic, underdrunk, and kind of abusive, and Kane couldn't do anything about this because he knew that this might lead up to Deku having to awaken them to activate activate the curse. So he just left it alone and he just helped out Inko when he can. He just didn't kill Hasashi. But when Deku turns 4, this is when the mark starts activating more and more, since it is technically in the embodiment of a technical quirk. It's not a quirk in itself, but it just starts activating to a certain extent. But the curse hasn't activated, so he can't control it at all. But so what happens is Deku sees that his father is doing what his father's doing, and ends up shoving him off, since some of the strength has activated, and just completely kills him. Not gonna explain how. He just completely, yeah, you know what? I will explain how. He completely just puts Hisashi onto the ground, like legit on his knees, kneeling down. Puts his hand in his chest and just rips his heart out. Plain and simple. And he just does that, and he just leaves it at that. As since now the curse is activated, Kane starts to just to technically disintegrate, as he's no longer technically needed in the physical world. But as he does disintegrate, he stays in Deku. He comes right back within a few minutes, and he's completely confused about this because he thought that he would be stuck in the mindscape, but instead he's still in the real world, but no one else besides Deku can see him. He's completely invisible to everyone else. So instead of being stuck in the mindscape, he's in the real world, but just as a technical ghost spirit, to where only Deku can see him. So he's completely fine with this. He just leaves it at that and just stays there to help train Deku and teach him how to use the mark. He knows that Deku isn't ready for the blade. Well, the first blade. So he leaves that out until he knows that Deku will be ready for it, be able to use it in its entirety. because it will take a while, a long, long time of training for Deku to be even close to ready to use it. It's not gonna take like a couple thousand years. It's maybe gonna take, at the moment he's for around 10 years to completely get ready. So he's not gonna get the blades until like technically right the last year of middle school. So yeah. So as Sasashi has died, they would have to, people would have heard the screaming and have called the police. So the police would get there, and all I'm just gonna say is, they would legit think that Inko was the one that did it, since her quirk is technically being the ability to just pull stuff towards her, so she can technically have the ability to rip someone's heart out. So, Inko would take the fall because she doesn't want her son to go to jail. So she would have just explained that it was in self-defense. The officers would see all of the bottles of beer and all of the just like complete alcohol around it, and they would just could see that he was obviously just completely drunk. So they could tell. And Inko would just explain that he was an alcoholic and he was starting to hit me, and I had just gotten tired of it, and I lost my temper, and this ended up happening. As they could see that there was technically some sort of struggle because Hasashi was trying to fight back, and they could just say that they could obviously see that there actually they could see that it must have been self-defense. So they're not even questioning that. So yeah, Inko does end up going to jail, leaving Deku alone. But Kane did think that this would be the case, there was something like this happening, so Kane brought in someone that he trusted more than anyone. An old friend that he had met during his many a year travels. He brings in, I'll bring his name in later. Actually, you know what? Y'all give me the name of this friend. He's not immortal, but he's just a close friend that knows about Kane's secret. So Deku goes to live with him since Inko was completely fine with that, and Inko was completely okay with that because she knows that Kane did care about Deku, and she understands that Kane would be a very, like, she knows that Kane is gone now because Kane did eventually explain his quirk, saying knowing, so Inko knew that when Deku eventually happened, because the Kane eventually did have to explain the quirk, so the mark, so they would at least know what would just expect it. But he only explained it to Inko because he knew Inko was not drunk, so she would actually remember. So Inko leaves Deku in the hands of Kane's friend, and from that day on, Deku still goes to the same school, but he just lives a little farther, as Kane's friend chose to come move over there so they could do the training in the same place that Deku was already accustomed to. So, around 2 days later, it's around Monday. It's around Monday, and they get to school, and this is when Bakugo's quirk awakens. So, due to the fact that Deku's complete curse and mark have activated and are not dormant anymore, they he's completely and absolutely immortal. He'll age for the time being and eventually stop aging, but for the moment he will be aging it as normally. So, but he's completely, and I mean absolutely immortal. There's not one thing that can kill him at all in existence. Besides, the only thing that can kill him is God himself. But that's not going to be happening anytime soon. So yeah, so he Bakugo would Bakugo would awaken with his quirk by while he's about to fall. He accidentally lets out uh, an actual strong size explosion. This is just because he doesn't know how to control it, and he does feel a backlash in his hand because that explosion was way stronger than anything that he should be dealing with at the age that he's at right now. Which this explosion was strong enough to knock to almost kill any normal person, and I mean legit almost kill any normal person. But since it is Deku, it would have killed him. But since he's immortal, he gets knocked back. When within about maybe like 5 seconds, he comes right back to consciousness, not one injury, and just stands up and just goes, "Kacchan, what? You awakened your quirk, an explosion quirk." Let me crack my neck a little. Let me crack my neck a little bit. Yeah, that quirk is a pretty decent. Yeah, but why'd you have to hit me in the head? That might leave a little headache for a bit. Like I know I'm completely immortal, but like the immortality doesn't mean I don't feel anything. So yeah, like that's gonna be a good crick in the neck for a bit. But like yeah, uh, this this like he as he Deku legit just smack Bakugo in the head, like completely smack him in the head, saying, "Yeah, that's payback for that." As Deku would grab Bakugo, take him out of the water, and just Bakugo would just say, "I could have killed you, but you're completely alright." So I'm guessing that's your quirk. As Deku would just say, "I need to go to the quirk doctor to get my quirk completely examined," but let's just say my quirk is a little complicated, and there are still aspects of my quirk that I don't completely understand yet, but I will understand it soon enough. But for now, let's just go and don't worry about what just happened. I'll be completely fine. It's not gonna do anything to me. It's not gonna really affect me that much. So yeah, let's just go. As they would just walk along, and just completely, just like chill for the rest of the day. As when he gets home, I'm gonna have to give him a name for this specific part, since y'all are gonna put a name it down in the comments. And for the moment, I'll just say that his name is what? Kai. Well, yeah, I'm just gonna call him Kai. So, Kai, which is the friend of Kane, just takes Deku to the quirk doctor and examines his quirk. As they see that his strength is boosted completely, speed boosted completely, stamina boosted completely, durability completely and almost completely invulnerable. Like he still gets injured. Like no, what you know? You know what? Let me not say invulnerable. He's immortal. So you cut his hand off, his hand's gone. Yeah, but it grows back. And then you cut his head off. Yeah, the head grows back. But like it's like very quick. Within like 5-10 seconds, everything just goes completely back to normal. So that's how it's technically, imagine Bond's immortality, but just times that by around like 10 to 15. That's how strong Deku. That's how strong Deku's healing is at that point. And yeah, like and since everyone could see the mark now, they could just know that yep. They don't know exactly what to classify it as, since the mark being a part of him technically does give. It's just a complicated scenario. So yeah, we'll just get through that and just eventually figure that out. But yeah, so they decide to call his quirk just the they just call it the Mark of Cain, since that's technically what it is, and they just decide to call it that anyways. And Deku just chose to call it that. So they call his quirk the Mark of Cain, and he'll just explain the abilities whenever he feels like. But he would go to school the next day. People by this point have heard exactly what happened with Inko, and but also heard the entire story. So people know that it was in self defense. So Inko's gonna be out by the time that Deku goes to high school. So yeah, but yeah, now Bakugo does stay friends with Deku because he knows that Deku is going through a hard time, and Deku has a strong quirk, so there is not any need to be mean to him, and people understand that Deku has the strongest quirk. Like, no one even doubts that. Bakugo doesn't even doubt that because Bakugo can die. Deku can't. So he knows that this nerd is an immortal nerd, so not even gonna bother with that. And he also need to remember that Deku has precognition, which is technically he can see what you're about to do before you do it, and always is completely prepared for that for almost every scenario. So his reflexes are completely heightened to all hell. So they don't even need to worry about that. They just know that this bro is strong than a, and they know, yeah, not even gonna bother with this. Just let's just get this over with and just completely like so. As round next week, as Kane's just been letting Deku have this time to get accustomed to everything. As that next week, this is when they would start their training. Kane would start teaching Deku the different types of martial arts, as he also warns Deku that he is gonna have a kind of attitude problem, as because he's warned Deku just don't choose a side, because you might be pure of heart, but choosing a side always leads to more problems than it causes, and Deku doesn't understand what exactly he was talking about, but he will. But he just says he just remembers what he said, and um he starts teaching. Like, he also tells them that you might keep a calm persona at most times and just be completely calm, but from now on your temper might not ever be the same. You probably are gonna get highly irritated very quick. So you'll get angrier quicker than almost any normal thing ever. So yeah, he explains the Deku like a personality changes that he might be facing. But since he is pure of heart, it's not as to an extent. And yeah, also he starts teaching Deku different types of martial arts, teaching him how to use weapons. And Deku, since the mark technically increases the rate at which you learn things, he's learning this quicker. So it would have taken most people a full lifetime to grasp this, but it's only going to take Deku around 10 years to master all of this. So, like, I mean, Deku is learning every martial art style because Kane knows them all. He he legit learned from the masters of each martial arts, the creators of each martial arts. That's how long he's been alive. He's teaching Deku the arts of weapons. He's like strengthening Deku's body. So by the time that Deku, I don't know if I should give. You know what? Fuck it. I'm giving him one for all, just for complete kicks. He might be immortal, but like, hey, it is what it is. I don't care what any of y'all say, but that's how we're playing it. Actually, you know what? Never mind. Bakugo's getting one for all. Yeah, Bakugo's getting one for all because Deku's not even gonna want it or need it. Like, he's not gonna want it, need it, or accept it in any way, shape, or form. But if he wanted it, his body will legit be almost, almost legit heavenly when it gets to the point. His body will be all like the perfect shape for almost any man. Like legit, he'll be at peak human condition by the time he's 15. That's how strong he is. His strength already surpasses All Might's by the time he's gonna be 15. His speed surpasses All Might's. Reflexes surpasses. Like he could beat All Might in a fight when he's 15. And since Kane's not gonna let Deku use the first blade until he masters all everything, which Deku already knows this because that's the first thing that he explained. Because I'm telling you, Kane, since before he died, yeeted the first blade out of existence, and I'm not even kidding. He yeeted that shit to oblivion to make sure that no one could get it, no one can find it, and the only person that could ever call it back is Deku when Kane sees fit, because that's technically he technically pulled the Mjolnir curse, where the only people that could touch it are the people that have mastered it, have mastered the everything else. Since he doesn't want a complete massacre, since the the technical first blade increases your strength by almost 25%. Increases everything by 25%. So it can and has the potential to increase your rage and increase your emotions. So he doesn't feel like having to deal with that until Deku's completely learned how to control everything. But this is where I'm going to be leaving the what if off. If y'all liked it, give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, and y'all already know what it is. But as always, your Dark King signing out. Peace.